Today we are going to discuss the important topic sewage treatment. So each and every sewage treatment, especially regarding to water. What is sewage? So sewage is the solid and liquid waste carried off in sewers or drains. So what is sewage? So sewage is nothing but the solid and liquid waste that is carried out in our drains. So that water should be treated. So due to scarcity of water, so the multi-floored buildings which we have in our metro cities, so in almost all parts of the cities in country, the water is being recycled. So one of the step is sewage treatment. So the water will be recycled, and recycled water can be used for flushing purpose or in toilet, and it will be used for gardening. How it is done, we'll see step by step. First of all, how water is polluted, we'll see. So the domestic sewage contain the especially as I told the sea. What do you mean by sewage? I told the solid and liquid waste, right? So the domestic sewage contain heavy loads of biological oxygen demand, that is BOD, and it contains pathogenic bacteria and it contains a foul smell. So if such wastewater is discarded into natural water bodies, they may cause destruction. They may destroy the entire aquatic life. They damage the aquatic life and may reduce the dissolved oxygen, and they may change the color of the water and may give bad odor to the water. If such water is consumed, it causes waterborne diseases such as typhoid. It may cause cholera, malaria, etc. And these waterborne diseases are caused by pathogenic bacteria. Therefore, sewage has to undergo proper treatment before being discharged in natural bodies. So how it is treated, we'll see one by one. There are mainly three steps. So what are those three steps? So the sewage treatment is carried out in three stages, namely primary treatment, secondary treatment, and tertiary treatment. So what do you mean by primary treatment? So primary treatment. So this method involves removal of. So primary treatment involves removal of solids, suspended and floating particles. Primary treatment is nothing but physical process of removing large and suspended particles in the sewage using screen. So initially, if you have initially we're going to place a small mesh where like this mesh, such type of mesh, when huge particles can be removed. The mesh size will be lowered. From step by step. While the mesh size will be very small, where even a minute particles can be removed. So here the solid, suspended, floating particles in water is removed. The solid particles are removed by means of mesh, grid chamber and skimming tank. So when water is allowed to settle in sedimentation tank, suspended particles will get settled. So coagulants like perchloride, lime is added to remove the non-settled particles. So as I told you, you're going to allow all the water. Once the entire suspended impurities are removed, you have some colloidal impurities, non-suspended, suspended impurities, small suspended impurities. When you remove the solid particles, the suspended impurities will be there. So which passes through even the smaller mesh. So that can be removed by adding the coagulants like perchloride or alum, where the non-settled particles will be settled. Once it is settled, it will be allowed to go into the next step, that is called secondary treatment. The secondary treatment, it is usually called as activated sludge process. This process is extensively used to treat water in institutions. It is used to treat water in apartments, etc. So sludge, it is nothing but activated sludge is nothing but microorganisms. It is nothing but microorganisms. I'll just show you. So here, from primary treatment, water will be allowed to settle in the treatment tank, and top of this you have a activated sludge. So activated sludge is nothing but microorganisms. So from the bottom of the tank, you're going to supply oxygen or air for oxidation. So once the oxidation completes here, the water comes out, the clear water comes out here, and whatever the sludge comes, it will be again sent into the secondary step. So water sample after primary treatment, is mixed with higher concentration of microorganisms. So higher concentration of microorganisms, nothing but the activated sludge. So and air is passed from the bottom of the chamber over here. So in presence of microorganisms and presence of air, so all the organic waste will get oxidized to carbon dioxide and water. So here aerobic oxidation of organic waste occurs, forming carbon dioxide and water. So sludge is formed. So whatever sludge is formed over here, this sludge can be used as fertilizer. Whatever sludge is formed over here, you can see this sludge can be used as fertilizer. It is rich. Okay, so it is rich in nitrogen. Okay, so next, so this water, whatever you get here, this clear water, this water contains some inorganic impurities. Here only organic waste is oxidized. So the sewage water does not contain only organic waste, it contains even in the inorganic impurities. So organic waste is oxidized by microorganisms in presence of oxygen. So inorganic waste also should be removed, right? How it is removed? In tertiary treatment. So the water after undergoing secondary treatment is subjected to tertiary treatment. So here, if water contains phosphate, it is removed by adding calcium phosphate, calcium hydroxide. When you add calcium hydroxide, so it phosphate will get precipitate as calcium phosphate. So water will be free from what? Here, phosphate. Okay, so if water contains water may contain heavy metals. If water contains heavy metal, it is removed by insoluble sulfides. So water, if it contains phosphate, is removed by adding lime. If water contains your heavy metals like mercury, chromium, it is removed by adding adding sulfides, insoluble sulfides. So colloidal impurities are removed by adding alum or ferrous sulfide. So if it contains still organic impurities, it is removed by treating it with activated charcoal. So the pathogenic bacteria, if it is present, it is destroyed by disinfectant. So after doing all these things, water contains it gives some foul smell and it is having little color, okay, yellowish color. So for that, the water is treated with chlorine. So chlorine is cheap and it is effective and it's a good disinfectant. So when you treat the water with chlorine, so the water, the pH level will come to 6.5 and the foul smell of water also goes off and water will become colorless. So that water can be used for it will be recirculated for flushing in toilets, and it will be only for toilets it should be used, and it can be used for gardening also. So this is how the water is recycled in almost all industries. It is recycled in institutions, it is recycled in apartments and recycled and reused. Okay, so this is how the sewage treatment should be done wherever sewage treatment plant is present. Okay, so activated sludge method is important. Secondary treatment is very, very important. Secondary and tertiary treatment. We are supposed to remove all this heavy metals. So heavy metals, by chance, if it goes to plants, so that plant, the fruit may also contain. Okay, so we are supposed to remove the heavy metals also. Thank you.